You already know the math. You've done it in your head, lying in the dark, staring at the ceiling. If you save $1,000 a month, invest it at a 7% return, you will have $1 million in 30 years. You were taught this was the finish line, the number your parents whispered about, the absolute guarantee of safety. But then you get there, or you see someone your age who got there faster, and you realize the darkest secret of modern wealth. Money doesn't just buy things, it consumes things, it takes things away. At every new level of wealth you unlock, a piece of your normal human experience is permanently deleted. $1 million isn't the top. $1 million is level 1. There are 6 more floors above it. And the elevator only goes up if you are willing to pay the psychological entry fee. Here is exactly what happens at all 7 levels of extreme wealth. Not what they buy, but what they cost. And what the people who live up there have quietly lost forever. Level 1, $1 million, what you lose. The finish line, let's start with the dream, $1 million. In your head, a millionaire is on a yacht. In reality, today's millionaire is sitting in traffic in a used Honda, checking a 401k on their phone, feeling a mild, permanent anxiety. If you hit $1 million, your money is trapped. It's in home equity you can't spend. It's in retirement accounts you can't touch without penalties. You still look at the prices on a restaurant menu. You still feel the flinch when the mechanic calls with the estimate. Your day-to-day life has not changed. The only thing that has changed is your sleep. Because the math finally works, and you know privately that you will not starve. You are secure. But here is what you lose at level 1, the illusion. Your whole life, you thought $1 million was the finish line. Now you are here, and you look up, and you realize you haven't won the game. You've merely bought the right to play in the real one. The finish line vanishes. You are at the absolute bottom of the ladder. Level 2, $5 million, what you lose. Contentment, this is where the physics of money start to bend. You have crossed a line that 99% of humanity will never cross. You are statistically undeniably rich. You walk into a dealership, point at a car, and sign. You don't negotiate. You book business class, and you don't even look at the economy price to compare. You have a financial advisor who sends you expensive wine. You have a lawyer on retainer. But here is the trap of $5 million. You don't feel rich, you feel adjacent to rich. You start getting invited to different rooms. And in these rooms, you meet people with 20 million, 50 million. You see how they move. You see that they fly private while you are still waiting in line at the commercial terminal. At 5 million, you lose contentment. You are the poorest person in the rich room. The comparison game starts, and it is violent. You are no longer comparing yourself to your old friends. You are comparing yourself to titans. And that comparison becomes the engine that forces you to chase level 3. Level 3, $10 million, what you lose. Relatability 10 million is the first level that permanently alters your Tuesday. At 10 million, the obligation to work evaporates. If you wake up and go to an office, you are doing it entirely by choice. You stop answering emails on Sunday. You stop taking meetings with people who bore you. But this freedom comes with a silent, heavy cost. You lose relatability. You sit down for dinner with the friends you grew up with. They are complaining about their boss. They are stressed about interest rates. They are watching the clock. You cannot participate in these conversations anymore. If you complain, it sounds like mockery. If you offer to pay for everything, it feels like charity. An invisible pane of glass drops between you and the world you came from. Nobody mentions the glass, but everyone feels it. You start to distance yourself, not out of arrogance, but out of exhaustion. It is simply easier to be around people who don't need you to shrink yourself. Level 4, $50 million, what you lose. The friction of being human. At 50 million, you no longer have friends. You have personnel. You have a calendar manager, a house manager, a driver, a chef, a wealth team. You wake up on a Saturday morning, walk into your kitchen, and the coffee is already made. You fly private exclusively. The first time you bypass TSA and walk straight onto a tarmac, you feel a twinge of guilt. By the 10th time, the guilt is gone. By the 50th time, the idea of walking through a public airport feels physically repulsive. Your threshold for what is normal shifts without your consent. And what you lose is friction. Friction is annoying, but friction is what keeps us human. Waiting in line, making your own coffee, fixing a broken door handle. When you remove all friction from your life, you remove the texture of reality. Life becomes a completely frictionless padded room. You are comfortable, but you are completely numb. Level 5, $100 million, what you lose. Reality at $100 million, you officially step out of the public economy. You do not shop in stores. Brands send private tailors to your home. You do not go to regular restaurants. If you do, you enter through the back and sit in a private room. You forget that other people wait. You forget what a crowd looks like, unless you are looking down at it from a balcony. Your social circle narrows strictly by geometry. You can only vacation with people who can afford a $100,000 week in Monaco. You stop inviting your old friends because paying for them humiliates them, and then paying for themselves bankrupts them. What you lose at level 5 is reality. You live in a bespoke simulation. Every person you interact with throughout the day, your staff, your advisors, your trainers, is paid to agree with you. You never hear the word no, and a human mind that never hears the word no slowly begins to lose its grip on sanity. Level 6, 500 million. What you lose. Your personal identity. You are no longer a person. You are an institution. You have a family office. There are 25 people sitting in a commercial building whose entire 40-hour work week consists of managing your existence. There are lawyers whose entire career is protecting you. You establish a massive foundation. You give away tens of millions of dollars. You are doing genuine, measurable good in the world. But you realize something terrifying. Everyone who approaches you wants something. You can no longer tell the difference between a friend, an admirer, and a predator. What you lose at 500 million is your personal identity. You are a brand. You are a walking bank. Every decision you make has to go through a committee. You cannot just buy a house. Your trust buys an LLC that purchases a holding company that acquires the asset. You are buried under so many layers of legal protection that the original you no longer exists on paper. Level 7, 1 billion. What you lose. Control over your existence. At $1 billion, your name is no longer yours. It belongs to the public. People who have never met you and never will meet you harbor deep, aggressive opinions about your soul. There are YouTube videos analyzing your psychology. There are articles written about you that contain entirely fabricated stories, and you cannot correct them because correcting them only feeds the algorithm. You are one of roughly 3,000 people on Earth at this altitude. The marginal change in lifestyle from 100 million to $1 billion is zero. You already had the jets and the houses. What changes is that your mere existence moves the world. You sneeze in a meeting and a company goes bankrupt. You forward an email and a foreign government changes a law. What you lose at level 7 is control. You are strapped to the front of a rocket you built, and you cannot get off. The momentum of your wealth requires constant feeding. The machine runs your life. You wake up, your inbox is curated, your meals are prescribed, your day is a sequence of global expectations.